Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Chiromo Hospital Group, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and live on LinkedIn right now. So, we are here today for a very interesting conversation with a very beautiful panel. And myself, I am going to be moderating the conversation today. My name is Pendo Ochola, and I welcome everyone who is here with us today. So remember to feel free to comment if you have anything to add in the conversation. If you have a question, feel free to just type it down and we're going to talk about it during the session. Yeah, and feel free to share about this live on your social media platform so that we can get to as many people as possible. So, I have an interesting panel with me here today, and I'd like to start this conversation off by giving them a chance to introduce themselves. Yeah, so I will start with the one who is just next to me, according to my grid, and also the only man in this conversation, Joseph. Karibu sana. Please feel free to introduce yourself to our audience today.
Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
So I'm Joseph Macharia. I'm a sexual reproductive health advocate, but more so I venture on matters pertaining mental health. I'm an enthusiast and I'm an advocate championing for the rights of the marginalized people, the key population people, the PWD, in matters pertaining health. And I'm located in Makadara sub-county. I work with a community-based organization, which is a non-profit, a youth-led organization here in Mukuru, a slum setup whereby I volunteer. I give psychosocial support to mentees who are school-going and also to campus students. Also, I'm also an avenue whereby I package myself and I broadcast key messages pertaining to mental health to different uh, kind of audience. I have adolescent and young people, and also the youth and the bigger kind of a community. So this is a great platform for me because it is in line with my passion and my work. And I'm so grateful to be here to learn and also to share my personal experience as a mental health advocate, and also to learn from others, and also to participate myself and to network to people like you, because for the future engagements and among others. Also, I'm a blogger. I do write, and I also write abstracts pertaining to mental health. I write articles online, and also I can say this got to shape my understanding on how to combat mental illness among adolescent and young people in Kenya. Thank you.
Wow, a lot from just one person, Joseph. Even before we go further from that, congratulations for the much that you're doing for the whole community in mental health, in advocating for those who cannot do that for themselves. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. We are more than honored to have you in this conversation today.
Thank you.
Following my grade, the one who's just below me is Jamila. Welcome so much, Jamila. Give you a chance to introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you, Pendo. Um, Hi, everyone. My name is Jamila Chele. I am currently a master's in counseling psychology student at USIU Africa, and I'm also a blogger. My blog is called Unburden Yourself, and my writing is geared towards encouraging people, instilling hope, um, and writing pieces that really encourage us to focus on how we can improve well-being and creating awareness around issues of mental health, and especially focusing on reminding people to be gracious to themselves, to be kind to themselves, even as we go on this journey of life, because the truth is no one really knows how to do life. We are learning as we go. So just encouraging people along the journey. I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm looking forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamila, for also sparing your time to join us here today. We are more than honored to have you in this conversation, and I appreciate what all of you do in your respective spaces when it comes to matters advocating for matters mental health. So we are honored to have you here with us today. And finally, on the grid is Penina Mwajanji. Penina, thank you for joining us today. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you. My name is Penina Nazi Mwajanji from Kilifi County. I'm a community health and development officer, and I'm an activist advocating for women's and girls' rights. And most of all, I'm a feminist. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm here to learn from others.
Thank you so much, Penina, and we are also as honored to have you here with us today, all the way from the coastal region. So I love this panel because I feel like it's quite diverse and it's very representing of the different areas, and I just want to start recognizing that all of you are very active in the spaces that you're in. Yeah, I'd like to start with Joseph because you're the one who spoke first. What makes you identify as a volunteer? What does volunteering mean to you?
Volunteering for me, it is in a broader spectrum, but maybe to simplify it, I can say it's an act whereby you give back maybe to the society, regardless maybe there is a maybe pension or maybe sitting allowance or any kind of maybe token of appreciation. Like maybe I give a brief history like about me. I have volunteered in an organization for like 3 years. I volunteered because the mission of the organization and the vision of the organization, it aligned with my passion. So I saw, even though maybe they won't even maybe pay me, but the moment maybe I indulge myself in their maybe activities and bring in and be an like an impact in the society, it will be like a revolution in the society because I'll be making impact. Sometimes we tend to think like maybe if at all maybe I had money, I will change the community. But you can also, like volunteering, you give yourself, the effort that you portray in the society, because of that need or the gaps that you have identified in the society, they play a key major role towards implementing some policy in the community. So for me, volunteering is identifying the gaps and also filling the gaps. Although maybe you're not being paid, but maybe my volunteering maybe towards this certain duration of time, it's gonna help maybe 100 adolescents. So for me, regardless of payment, I volunteer. I don't care because I feel at the end of the day, I've been of great impact rather than maybe those Ministry of Health or those people who are in the policy maker and the decision makers who are doing nothing. But here in the ground, at least I'm a positive person, delivering positive vibes to the people and also creating a harmonious environment for this kind of people so that I can safeguard maybe their future and their well-being. So volunteering, it just taking that initiative step and stepping out and becoming the change in the community, regardless of maybe you are being paid, you are being recognized, but one day, one time, people gonna appreciate your effort because it isn't always in vain. There are those people, maybe they will pinpoint you at one day, one time, and they'll appreciate whatever that you have been doing in the community. Yeah.
Even before I give others the opportunity to appreciate what you do in the community, I will start by doing that. And what I got a lot from, what stood out for me is doing what you can with what you can and where you can. So that really stood out for me, not waiting for the big things to make change, but making change from where you are. Thank you so much, Joseph, for that. Moving on to Jamila, yeah? Do you consider yourself as a volunteer, and what does volunteering mean to you as a person?
I do consider myself a volunteer, and mainly because of the aspect of meaning and purpose that we derive from volunteering. So to put that in context, first of all, I define volunteering as that willingness to give of your resources, and to do so in a way that adds value to either to another person's life, or to whichever organization you're working with, or whichever space that you're volunteering in. So there's that aspect of willingness, of giving, of value addition, and again, giving of whatever resources you have, whether it is internal or external. So there's something that Joseph said, and you also highlighted about being able to do something with whatever you have, which is important. I think it's very important because sometimes whatever resources you have may not necessarily be external, for example, money or time. But you can have internal resources that you can share, whatever you have that is within you that you can give someone else. Yeah. So I do think I'm a volunteer. I consider myself a volunteer because I tend to be drawn to opportunities or experiences where I feel I can be useful or add that value to another person's life. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Focusing on, doing what you can, but in addition to that, also adding value in other people's life. Thank you so much for that. And we also have someone else who is joining us in this conversation right now, and that is Azani. Azani, welcome to this conversation. We are honored to have you here with us today. Would you like to say hi to the audience?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
My name is Azani Ngumbao from Marereni in Kilifi County. I am an educationist and an activist at the same time. I'm here with my boss, Penina Nazi Mwajanji, although she didn't say that. She's the boss for Girls to Women. I am the coordinator here. Thank you so much. I feel humbled to be part of this panel, and I would like to learn much from you guys.
Thank you so much, Azani. We had just gotten straight into the conversation, and perhaps you could go next in sharing. Do you consider yourself a volunteer, and what does volunteering mean to you?
Come up again, I didn't get you.
Right. The question was, do you consider yourself a volunteer, and what does volunteering mean to you?
I can say I am a volunteer. And the reason as to why I'm saying I am volunteer, if we speak about it's the act or the willingness of doing things without being forced, with external propulsion by someone else, but that drive that comes from within without expecting any return or any favor or anything. Purposefully, that is done. It gives you, I may say, it gives you happiness and it gives you pleasure. That is voluntarism.
Thank you so much. And what I capture most from what you said is that drive from within to do this act of volunteering. We have someone who is watching this conversation. Hezron Omari is saying he is tuned from Apakabete. Thank you so much, Hezron, for following this conversation. To everyone also watching this conversation live, thank you for being with us. And feel free to invite as many people to join us. Back to the conversation. Penina, same question back to you. It wouldn't be fair to skip you here. Do you consider yourself a volunteer, and what does volunteering mean to you?
Okay, I can say that all my college life I have been volunteering because of the passion I have and the cause I was doing, community health, because it's all about the community. And I have been volunteering, and yes, I can say I consider myself a volunteer because since, like I said earlier, since I was in college, I used to volunteer like in hospitals, in the communities, and also I worked with Wash Alliance. They were having a certain project in Kilifi County, and I volunteered to making the community better. And volunteering to me is all about giving back to the community, because sorry, volunteer to me
That's okay.
is giving back to the community. And since it's an act of doing something without, or services without expecting being paid or something else, then it's all about being passionate about what you are doing. So as for me, I consider myself a volunteer because I have been doing a lot of that without expecting anything from anyone. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Penina. And I'd like to direct the next question first to Jamila and then to Joseph. And the next question is on how does volunteering, or rather, how does volunteering improve our quality of life? I'll start with Jamila and then next to Joseph.
Okay, thank you, Pendo. I tend to believe that our quality of life is heavily influenced by our thought patterns and how we respond to the ups and downs that we face on a daily basis. And the thing about volunteering, I have found, is that it challenges our perspectives and also fosters healing because of the lessons that we learn along the way and the experience that we gain from volunteering in whatever position that we find ourselves volunteering in. It develops our character, and it builds resilience, and it gives us a renewed appreciation for life. So at the end of the period that you have volunteered, I think, my own experience, I've come out with a positive outlook. And because of that, I always feel geared to maintain that positive outlook and to continue living in such a way that I am healthier and getting better on a daily basis. And so that would incline me to make choices that are beneficial to me. And because I'm making choices that are beneficial to me, then also making choices that will align with my own personal values and beliefs, and as a result, enhancing quality of life.
Wow, thank you so much, Jamila, for such an elaborate response. What we, the thoughts are at the basis of, all we, what we do. It starts from the thoughts and then follows from there. So the exposure that we even get from volunteering, you can see how that can expose us to a lot of things later on, contributing to the effects that it would have on our quality of life. So thank you so much, Jamila, for that. On to you, Joseph. How do you think volunteering improves our quality of life?
So first, some of the things that I wanted to say, my beloved sister said, but I have like three. First, that creating of good rapport with the community, whereby you'll be seen as like an ambassador, or like someone who is very special in the community because of the capability that you possess inside of you. And these people, they portray, or they perceive you like a prominent person in the community, whereby because you have the information so fast, you feel the connection whereby between you, or the intimate relationship between you and the community, whereby they even tend to come up with maybe mental health session, and you maybe moderate the session because they see that you are so capable in that field. So that has been maybe made because of volunteering and creating a good rapport in the community. And creating a good rapport doesn't take like 2 to 3 months. some things maybe go to 2 years because they have to understand you very well. Another thing I can say is about discipline, because now you have to stay on toes, because now these people are looking up to you. Maybe the parents are saying, maybe when you grow up, be like this person, because they imitate your move, because they see that you are someone who has come out of the what we call the relaxation zone, whereby you are not just living the life for the sake of living, but you are living for the sake purposes of impacting the society positively and creating a harmonious environment whereby people can grow, can share out their ideas, and you can come up together and maybe come up with also maybe a policy that can help maybe the society. So I can say discipline in terms of maybe your personal discipline to maybe your running your errands or maybe community errands. And also number 3 is the positive attitude, because you the moment you, for example, like me as a mental health advocate, if at all maybe something is traumatizing me, like maybe let's say like maybe stress disorder, and maybe I have a session, first I have to work on myself before I go to someone else who has maybe like post-traumatic stress disorder. So first you work on yourself. So if I'm in a good mood or I'm in a good position, then I'm able to even help, rather than maybe going to a person and offering maybe psychosocial support and maybe I'm not in good shape. So first it gives you that whereby you have to possess a good positive attitude within yourself, then you can be able even to accommodate others. So I can say that's how they merge together between our quality life and maybe mental health in terms of volunteering. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. What I get there is that from the experiences, or let me say the demands that come from volunteering, you gain some things that also help you as an individual, in addition to, empowering you to being able to help the community. And there's something you also said that really stood out for me. Being aware of your mental health and your capacities, because that comes first. If you're you wouldn't be able to be in a capacity to tend to others if yourself you're not in a good place. So one of the things that we go by is your mental health first, or if you're to say it from your end, it will sound my mental health first. So that comes first, and then now you're in a capacity to even tend to other people. Thank you so much, Joseph. On to Penina. I'd like us to move on to the next question. Having that you specialize a lot in community-based initiatives, how does volunteering contribute to the well-being of the community in whole and its members?
Okay, I have 3 things to say, and one, I will base on the economic side. So it boosts the economy of the community, because we find that when we have more volunteers in the community and all that, we find out that funds, let's say much fund is not used to pay the volunteers. Rather, it will be used in other productive projects in the community. And also, it also encourages active community engagement. This is because the relationship between the community and the volunteers, as Joseph has said earlier. So you'll find out that there is that engagement between the two parts, the volunteer and the community. And also, it also helps build relationship and combat online. It helps build relationships and combat loneliness, meaning that when more people in the community engage in volunteerism, we find out that someone can't be lonely. Let's say now, if I was not in this meeting, then I could be somewhere just sitting and doing nothing. And also, combating loneliness also helps in fighting mental health problems. So yeah, that is it.
Thank you so much, Penina. And I found myself drawn a little bit towards volunteering, being able to improve community participation, and interaction, because the people feel like there's someone that they can talk to, someone very reachable, someone who is out to look out for their needs. So I think that really stood out for me. And just want to throw the same question back to Joseph, having that you also have very active community engagement. How does volunteering contribute to the well-being of the community?
So first, volunteering first, the moment you start volunteering, you become busy, not idle. Like we say, an idle mind is a devil workshop. So the moment maybe this PWD, maybe this person with disability now start to volunteer in maybe in community engagement, this person won't feel like I'm so victimized in the society or like I'm of no benefit in the society, but rather he or she can say, I'm a PWD, or person with a disability, but this isn't my end game, but I can offer also support in order maybe to meet the needs of this maybe organization, which is implementing maybe particular strategies in the community. Number two, it boosts the self-esteem of this particular individual or maybe the community at large, because you find maybe at first you are so hesitant in terms of maybe delivering your services to the community, but the moment you start now creating that good rapport in the society, now you feel like you are an ambassador. Although maybe people are not recognizing you, but you feel maybe this is my third time maybe in the community volunteering. You feel even the community is aware of your effort that you are doing, so it boosts even your self-esteem and you feel proud of yourself. Also, it's like act like a therapy. Like for example, I can say maybe a jobless person maybe has been maybe in this like hard time eras because of the pandemic COVID-19. So maybe this adolescent and young person maybe in the society or in a community setting, they feel I'm jobless, I don't know what to do, but maybe you like engaging in maybe in health talk. The moment you start now engaging in health talk, maybe you even have those, you feel maybe the traumatic, the stress, or maybe that's something, the depression part, it starts to fade away because you are engaging in a one-on-one conversation with maybe the people. So in terms of like having like a dialogue with the community, you feel the stress is fading away or the depression is fading away and you feel energized, you feel rejuvenated, and you feel like it acted like a therapy because you have people who are looking up to you, you have people that you are engaging with in the community, you are talking to one-on-one. And also I can say about capacity building, because the moment you indulge yourself in volunteering in the community, some things you learn on the process. Like Jamila said, life is, we learn it day by day. There's no person maybe who has a PhD in life. So we all learning, we are not being certified, but it is a process. We are learning along the way. So I can say the person maybe volunteering, they feel their capacity built in terms of even packaging the information and giving it to the audience or to the specific age group of maybe the people in terms of maybe the people person with a disability or people who are living with HIV or the key population LGBTIQ. So another thing I can say, it's about the networking and socializing, whereby you may find maybe this person has some skills, but maybe they were employed and maybe they were sacked along the way. So when you maybe this kind of organization, they tend to, at one point or another, maybe they ask, what do you possess? Do you have skills in doing this and that? So along the way, you start like, you feel you come along with people who are maybe in search of people who have the skills that you possess. So along the way, it's a benefit or it's a plus to you. And also maybe the last thing I can say, the inclusivity of the way you said, Pendle, like maybe we have the PWD, the PLHIV, all the people, and coming together through a multi-sectoral approach and a multifaceted approach, whereby we are not leaving anyone out. It is like an umbrella whereby all of us are we are beneath the umbrella, and it is we are equality. There is equality and what we call the equity, and also it boosts this person's self-esteem, like I said earlier. And also in terms of delivering the services, you will deliver it accordingly because you know it is because it is coming from within you, from your heart, and you are not being forced. You are not looking after maybe the money at the end of maybe the session or maybe at the end of the workshop, but you know the information that you have maybe delivered to the community, it will help them in the long run, because maybe someone who was about to commit suicide, but maybe because of your presence in the session, maybe they feel like maybe you gave out, maybe at the introduction of the session, maybe you gave out a personal experience, what you underwent, and you are there to be like a bridge to them. So they feel like for you, you overcame, even me, I can overcome. So they tend to take you like an avenue full of information, and they look up to you. So you are like an ambassador to them. Yeah.
Wow, I could not possibly add on to that. Volunteering has this great impact to the community, and what I think just really caught my attention is creating that link between the community and the resources that they need, and not just creating that link, but the link that is approachable and very accessible. At the end of the day, we are working towards making everyone feel heard, making everyone feel like there's something for them. So thank you so much, Joseph, for that bit. Moving on to Jamila, thank you so much. With your experience in psychology and specializing in matters mental health, what role do you think volunteering will play when it comes to promoting mental health, preventing mental health, the curative aspect of mental health? What role do you think volunteering will play in this?
Thank you for the question. I think the first thing that comes to mind is alleviating stress and the distress that we face on a daily basis. Because if we get ahead of stress, it saves us a lot in the long run. So if, for example, you have someone volunteering at a palliative care center, for example, just that attention that you're giving to the patients at that center, it alleviates a lot of stress, the stress and distress that comes with whatever they're facing with their medical condition, how it makes them feel, how it affects their perspective on a daily basis. It reduces their levels of stress, which means they can sleep better, they can eat better, they can relate with people better. Having someone there with them to listen to them and walk that journey with them will also help them communicate whatever they are going through with their friends, their family members, and also to help family members and friends also understand that pain. Another thing is helping people understand the connection between mental ill health and the stressors that are there on a daily basis. Without having that understanding, we can't identify a problem, and if you can't identify the problem, you can't solve it. So if people begin to understand that there's a connection between my thoughts, my actions, my behavior, my lifestyle choices, then it makes a big difference. And volunteering helps in that the person who is volunteering is in a position to share that information, to spread the word, to answer the questions that come up. Another thing is the act of reaching out. You cannot volunteer without reaching out to someone, whether directly or indirectly. And that alone makes a difference for that person who is on the receiving end, because it makes them feel heard. It validates their struggle, and also beyond acknowledging their struggle, it lets them know that someone else understands or is trying to understand and appreciate the impact that this struggle is having on me. So you feel, when someone else feels validated, then, for example, if it's someone who was considering committing suicide and they have someone here who's validating their experience, it will give them an opportunity to think twice. It will give them that reminder that maybe this is not the end. Maybe there's something else I can do. Maybe I don't have to give up at this point. And for someone else who might be struggling, even in their family life, in their job life, whatever whatever struggle it is, sometimes we tend to undermine each other's struggles. You want to think that maybe this one is bigger than the other one, but the truth is each person has an experience that is unique to them. And when we are able to appreciate that experience, then we are able to make a difference in that person's life. And that difference is unique to them. That's the kind of difference that would make a change for them. Another thing, it empowers people by showing them that we can make choices that improve our lives. We are not limited to making choices that are based on maybe past negative experiences, or maybe you're looking at your life and maybe you're not happy with how it has been. It doesn't mean that every decision that you make now has to be negative. So volunteering will empower you, like the example that Joseph gave about a person living with disability, making a choice to not let their life or their quality of life be defined by their disability. It will make them a better person and gives them a chance at the kind of life that they dream of. And then finally, I think volunteering creates a conducive environment for development of ideas and solutions, because as you volunteer, you're learning on a daily basis. You're exposing yourself to new things on a daily basis. And also because it forces you also to talk to people, to communicate with people, and it puts you in a position that maybe you'd not have been in had you not been volunteering. So in that way, that exchange and that experience and the lessons that we learn along the way, it births ideas and solutions to existing problems. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Jamila. Accessibility. I think that's what really stood out for me, making mental health accessible to the community, be it through advocacy, be it through offering the services that one can, within their capacity. And not just doing that, but coming from someone who has the right information, the capacity to give what's the word, evidence-based information to the community. So thank you so much for that bit. We have someone who is following this conversation. Felix Ochieng is saying volunteering is one way of keeping the mind busy, hence preventing extreme thoughts arriving from idleness and boredom, which goes hand in hand with what all of you have talked about when it comes to the benefits of volunteering, not just to the community, but also to the volunteer themselves. Yeah. So on to getting back to the conversation. Penina, I'd like to direct the same question to you. What role would volunteering play when it comes to the promotive, the preventive, the curative aspects of matters of mental health?
Thank you. So much has been said by my sister Jamila, but I would like to add something on the promotive healthcare services. And when I relate promotive healthcare and volunteerism in the community, because promotive is all about preventing down there with before the onset of a disease or anything. So I will say that volunteerism in promoting mental health is that it improves primary and secondary prevention, in that when we have like community health education, like school-based education, like we educate, all the people volunteer to educate the public about mental health. This will prevent more complications or the onset of, let's say, a depression. So people will be aware of the signs and symptoms of stress, depression, and they will try to avoid that. And also I would like to say something on the curative part. I would like to explain it in this context. Like, let's say in Chiromo Hospital, you have I'm not sure, but maybe you have a section where you have your patients which are almost recovering, and after they undergo all those processes, the medication and all that, you decide that you are going to give them a chance to volunteer, let's say to go on during the Saturdays or Sundays. They volunteer in like public gardens or what. They go and sweep and collect, let's say, litters and all that. These activities, or this volunteerism, or this, let's say, this thing will help the patient to it will boost the mental health of the patient, because we know that from the last conversation in Twitter, we said that mental health gives one a sense of fulfillment and happiness. So when these patients volunteer to like sweep or collect litters in public places, or sweep in, let's say, in the hospital, in their rooms or anything else, this will create a sense of fulfillment and happiness. So it will boost their recovery. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Penina, for bringing to us the preventive element, also the promotive element, where we go into this from creating information, creating awareness first, to promote healthier behaviors, healthier habits when it comes to matters mental health. And you mentioned about where people could volunteer. First of all, it's important to mention that to the audience who are watching us, the reason why we are very honored for this panel is because all of them are here out of a volunteering basis to just be here and create awareness about matters mental health. So first of all, we appreciate that. And that also goes hand in hand to with campaign that you are currently running, hashtag Tufunguke. And this campaign is one that is trying to promote people coming forward with their stories on matters mental health and their experiences, either people with lived experiences or people supporting those with lived experiences, to talk about their experiences, so that out here people stop seeing mental health as this alienated, as this new concept, but understanding that it is here with us and people still live full and functional lives, even with the diagnosis. So we call anyone who feels like they're in a capacity to share their story to join this campaign and share their story, so that we all work together to promote, all of us, Tufunguke on matters mental health. And this is actually going hand in hand with this conversation, because we are openly talking about mental health and not stigmatizing it. So thank you so much, Penina, for bringing that bit up. And as we are approaching the end of this conversation today, I'd just like to hear from the audience today. What would be your parting shot to our audience when it comes to matters volunteering and mental health? What would you like to tell the audience? And I'll just follow my grid to make it easier. So I'll start with Joseph, Johnny, and then finish up with Penina.
So for me, I will say there is no health without mental health. So like, I'll be brief. So we, like the young people, we tend to think like, if my physical appearance is okay, then I'm okay. Then we don't tend to take care of maybe our mental state, and it even deteriorates to a point whereby you start having maybe suicidal thoughts. So first, although we work on our phenotype, the physical appearance, we should also maybe invest in our mental state, whereby our mental state is like the driver to propel us from one juncture to another, because I can't be ambitious yet my mental health is deteriorating. So first I work on my mental health to be able to combat with life's challenges, and also to be able to combat and also to maneuver around along maybe the challenges or the barriers. So my key maybe takeaway messages to maybe the people who are following us. First, I'll say you might be that person, maybe you are passionate, maybe in terms of like you are maybe an artist. You can use maybe your artistic, maybe art or artistic approach to use it like a tool to take it to the maybe to the community or to your target audience who you feel like you relate well with. Like for me, I normally deal with adolescent and young people because I feel I can be able to empathy. I can be able to fit in their shoes and I can be able to feel like whatever they are going through, maybe I went through, or maybe some things maybe they are going through, maybe I wasn't in a position maybe to went through. So, but I can be able to offer maybe a leaning shoulder and also maybe some psychosocial support. So I can say for maybe this particular individual, you might think maybe you are not so passionate maybe in terms of anything, but the moment you start maybe with that one activity or maybe affiliating yourself with certain organization, you something it's like an uproot, something that it gets ignited inside of you and you feel like wow. So it's like a mind-blowing thing or like a revelation in your mind or in your soul whereby you feel like kumbe I can do this and that. Kumbe I can be able to safeguard maybe people's rights and can be able to like champion for people's rights because I'm so brave, I'm so passionate in terms of this and that, and I can also like be a bridge to people. Also, you might think maybe I'm not good maybe in terms of communication, packaging my messages, but maybe you are good in writing. You can write blogs. You can write. There are very prominent people who have done great things in advocacy and in activism, but they are not seen. But their work speaks for themselves. So there is no excuse towards maybe volunteering. Use your medium. Use your anything that you are so passionate about, and people gonna recognize that maybe in the near future. And I can also say, find something that you so love and do it wholeheartedly because tomorrow ain't promised. Just be like, let people maybe when you depart, what will people maybe remember you of? So yeah. And I can also say, thanks to that friend of mine, I have so many people who are lined, Felix Ochieng, and another friend of mine here following live called Director Casanoi. He's a reformist. He was in the streets for like 8 years, and he also advocates for mental health, and he's following live. So back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for that. Thank you for recognizing those who are supporting you in this journey. We are honored to have all of you in this conversation, even those in association. Yeah, so thank you so much for that. On to Jamila, what would your part in short be on matters volunteering and mental health?
My sentiments will echo what Joseph has said. I'd say keep an open mind, because there's a lot of growth and development that comes out of it, which is a good thing because then that growth and development is largely to do with your mental health and well-being. So keep an open mind and remember to be kind to yourself as you go along because growth and development is not necessarily always positive. Sometimes it's negative. You may find out things about yourself that you don't like. It is okay. It is normal. We are all human beings. So don't be so self-critical. Be kind, be gracious with yourself, and see how you can grow even from finding out that thing that you don't like about yourself. What can you learn from it? Or if it's something that you don't like about yourself, how can you change it so that you improve yourself and become the version of yourself that you'd like to be? I'd also say if you opt to volunteer, don't do it for the sake of volunteering. It's important also to understand the importance of the role that wherever you want to volunteer plays in your own life and how it's going to impact that organization, that person, or the space that you're in, your sphere of influence, your community. Whatever you do in that role is going to have an impact. And it will be either positive or negative, depending on how you handle it. So don't do it for the sake of it. Let it be something that comes from an honest and genuine place, so that you can give back something that has substance, something that is giving back truly, something that really adds value and makes a positive difference. And in terms of feeling like you can't give, maybe you feel like you don't have much to give, sometimes we tend to overlook things because they're small, or we feel like they're insignificant. But those are the things that we find out much later have a much bigger impact than what we could have imagined or appreciated. So, whatever you have, whether it is internal or external resources, it can make a difference to someone somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamila, for your parting shot. Remember to keep an open mind and be kind to yourself. Some of the things that you may learn about yourself might not be the best things, but be kind to yourself and work on improving this. And as well as whatever you have, it could be, impactful to someone else, and doing it as well as you can. So thank you so much, Jamila, for that. Unfortunately, Penina dropped out of the great day, but we are approaching the end of the conversation. But there is a question that has been asked in the comment section that I think is important to address before we end this conversation. And this is from Charles Juma, who says, I love the discussion, but have a question. People with disability are more prone to mental health problems because of their disability status. How can they be helped? I'd like to open this up to anyone in the panel who would like to give a response to this.
I'll go first. So first, thanks, Charles. That's a friend of mine. We have done so much in the community with him. And so first I can say the acceptance part. Maybe this particular person with a disability has to accept the current situation, or maybe his or her condition first. And then later afterwards, maybe like I can say, like, I have a friend of mine who is a PWD, and he searched for like an organization that is so much passionate about PWD issues in addressing about sexual reproductive health policy. So finding like an organization that works for your own betterment, it works best, rather than like joining an organization for the sake of joining, or affiliating yourself with organization for the sake of affiliating yourself. It won't work. But maybe finding those organizations that are so passionate about dealing with issues pertaining person with disability, it works well, because you're gonna be offered the platform and also like represent the what we call the person with disability in those health forums in decision, and also meeting the what we call the key state actors in terms of policy formulation. So this platform can't find you on your way. Like, this platform can't come to your doorstep. You have to step out. You have to like maybe do like a research. You do like a personal research, maybe in Twitter, and there are so many in Twitter, and you maybe DM them, and maybe you let them see your passion towards like being a bridge to this kind of people who they feel they are so neglected, they are victimized, they are so stigmatized. But for you, you have stood out. You have come out of the shell. You have come out of that bondage, or that zone that limits you from addressing issues that are PWD they face in the community. So I can say, first you accept the situation, and then maybe look for maybe these organizations that are so passionate about PWD issues. And maybe you can say, maybe you don't have like a smartphone, but maybe also you can get even help. Like in our community here in Makadara, Lunga ward, our facility is so friendly to person with disability, because we have done some renovation so that this kind of people, they can feel they are not like outcast, or they are not like people we are not accepting in our community. But it is so friendly to a point whereby we have a PWD champion, so that even other PWD, when they come to the facility, they can see, wow, so we have like a peer educator who is a PWD. So first you come out then the society gonna recognize whatever that you are doing, and also getting this platform whereby you're gonna like air out. Maybe you have seen like maybe in the reproductive health policy, like the one that was for the 2022, actually we rejected it because it wasn't friendly, and also it contained some policies whereby, but the age of consent, it wasn't like right for the adolescent and young people, and we know they are sexually active. So I can say finding this kind of like organization, it's gonna work for you best, because you're gonna be given the platform to air your issues. Maybe for you, maybe you have identified there is a gap. Unless you step out, we won't be able to know whatever that you want to address to the maybe to the nation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for that elaborate response. And I think this would be a good time to mention that at Chiromo Hospital Group, we have a toll-free line that is 0800 220 000. And on the other end of this line is a psychologist, and you will be able to speak to them at no cost to the airtime from your side. So this is open to anyone who feels like they would like to speak to a psychologist. Please feel free to call our toll-free number. That is there. I'll just leave it on the screen for more people who would like to record it. So thank you so much for that response, Joseph. And just to capture a parting shot from someone else here as you conclude. This is from Felix Ochieng. Parting shot: the mind is like an engine. If left unused, it will gather rust and not function properly. This is the same way. If you don't keep your mind busy, it will gather negative thoughts, will eventually put you at risk of mental health. Volunteer to keep your mind busy, learn as you grow yourself professionally as well. So thank you so much, Felix, for being an active part of this conversation from the comment section. Thank you so much to everyone else who's been. Yes, please. Let me not lock you out.
Sorry, there's just something I wanted to add in addition to what Joseph responded. That on a more personal level, empowering the person with information about their condition or the nature of their disability. I say this because I have found when someone understands more about whatever they have to deal with, in this case a disability, then they are able to separate themselves from the disability and understand that they are a person, an individual that is separate from this condition that they're dealing with. And so they are not defined by it. And the understanding that they're not defined by this condition helps them to be able to pick up and build their lives going forward. So I think that's also very important. And it also helps them to move away from self-blame. Sometimes there's a tendency to blame yourself, that it is because of something that you did that you ended up with this condition. But when you're able to separate yourself from it, then a difference can be made, and you don't have to feel sympathy for yourself, and you're able to empathize in a healthy way and move on with life. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And quite unfortunately, that was about to lock that out. Thank you so much for that addition. Having that avenue for people to learn more about the condition that they have, and so that they're able to separate it from who they are as an individual, not defining themselves from it. So thank you so much for giving us that. So we are coming to the end of this conversation today. I'd like to thank everyone who has been following this conversation. Remember, together towards a similar goal, and that is advocacy for matters mental health. Tufunguke, let us talk about mental health. And we also have a toll-free number to anyone who'd like to reach us, 0800 220 000. So as we end this conversation, I'd like to remind you all that next Monday we will be having another tweet chat on a different topic that is on matters finances related to mental health. So we invite you all to join us on our Twitter page at Chiromo Host GRP, where the tweet chat is going to be running. And also we will be having a similar live conversation on the same next week, same day, same time. So feel free to tell everyone, come on, come all, let us work together in creating awareness on matters mental health. So thank you all. Thank you so much to the panel today, to Joseph, Penina, who dropped out, as well as Azani, who also dropped off. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Jamila, for sparing your time. We appreciate you all. Yeah, and we're looking forward to even further interaction. So thank you to the audience. That is all for today.